everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the third leg of the National Productivity Webinar Series. I am Attorney Grace Badilla.
I am LB Hota, and we will be your moderators for today's session.
Ang galing no, LB. Nasa third week na pala tayo ng ating webinar session.
Yes, Attorney Grace.
So for those who just joined in today, the National Productivity Conference is a platform for discussing developments and issues affecting the country's productivity and competitiveness. While we used to convene this conference face-to-face, this year we are doing it online via Zoom. At tayo din po ay streaming live in Facebook. All this in compliance with health and quarantine measures. And again, this year, because of this pandemic and its impact on our lives and on our work, we have aptly themed this virtual conference as Driving Productivity in the Better Normal. It recognizes the need to deepen our understanding of the challenges brought by this pandemic and the policy and program responses to leverage the opportunities as we bounce back, hopefully with greater resilience and efficiency to unlock productivity in the new normal. So given our theme, we have lined up webinars every Thursday po yan. We started last September 3 up until November 5, 2020. So moving forward, the remaining topics in this series are on government programs to accelerate technology adoption, employment outlook, post-COVID, future work, and business responses to the new normal, such as the use of actionable intelligence, automation, business reconfiguration, and employment engagement. Nakaka-excite ang mga topics, di ba, LV?
Yes.
So, are you ready?
Yes, Attorney Grace, you're ready. Just a few reminders to our participants. We will mute your videos off and keep your audios on mute when the session is ongoing to minimize interruptions. We encourage you to answer the poll questions that will be flashed on your screens. Q&A and chat boxes are available at the bottom of the screens for your questions, comments, and feedback. And please make sure that you complete the evaluation form after the session to get your certificate of participation. Grace, it's time for the poll questions.
Thank you, LV, for those reminders. To put us in the context of today's discussion, may I request everyone to answer a few poll questions. So let's start with number 1. Can we pull up the first question, please? So I will read the question. Has your business or your company adopted any new technology to ensure continuity of your business operations during this pandemic? You can answer a yes or a no. So are we done with our first poll question? Let's go now to the second one. Please pull up the second poll question. What aspects of your company's operations has new technology been applied to? This is a multiple response question. Your options are production, distribution, frontline service, sales and marketing, finance, human resources, others. So you can choose as many as applicable. So let's go to the third. Ayan, so let's go to the third poll question. Please pull up the question. What were the challenges or difficulties in adopting new technologies? Also, this is a multiple response question. Your options are cost, integration or compatibility with existing system or process, adaptability to new technology, internet access, others. Please click in your answers. So We're done with the third poll question. Let's go now to our last poll question. Please pull up the question. What forms of assistance do you need, if any, from government to facilitate adoption of new technologies? Again, this is a multiple response question. You can choose from grants, loans, free online platforms or digital applications, technical advice, others. Please click in your answers. So tapos na po ba ang lahat sa ating poll questions? Can you type a D, delta, sa ating chat box if you're done? So done with our poll questions. Thank you, everyone. We will show you the results after the presentation of our resource person. To present the technology-enabled solutions, mitigation to recovery, please welcome the Executive Director of the Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development of the Department of Science and Technology, Executive Director Enrico C. Paringit. Dr. Eric?
Yes, good morning to everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation to our dear Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology, Boy de la Peña. He sends his regrets for not being able to be with you today, but he encouraged us at the Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology Research and Development to pitch in, no? Because he recognizes the very importance of engaging with our colleagues from government and of course our sector in labor and productivity, which we are also aligned with. So I'll now show you my presentation for this morning, and we do hope to be able to contribute in our discussions and of course in our general objectives, no, in our workplace. So first, I'd just like to give a brief introduction of what we are as part of the department. We are the Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technologies Research and Development. So as such, we are a sectoral planning council responsible for some of the activities in science and technology in the country, at least some of the sectors. No? Our scope or coverage is vast and wide. No? It covers a lot of the industries, which of course very much relates to the productivity sector. No? So it consists essentially of 22 sectors, anywhere from, of course, what we would consider to be high tech, like electronics and semiconductor, all the way down to food processing, the more traditional industries that we have. Of course, we also touch on public policy, public sector, no, like transportation, disaster management, environment. But of course, we also give a particular emphasis to new and emerging technologies like, of course, artificial intelligence. We've heard a lot of them, about them, no? Data science, and those that, of course, are being put into mainstream use in our industries like material science, biotechnology, and ICT. Just to give you, maybe familiarize you with the sort of focus areas that we have, particularly in line with the response to the new normal. PCIEERD has been quite active in supporting initiatives against COVID-19. So you might have heard of the specimen collection booths that have been developed with the support of the UST, and how it has become part of the response system that we have. And of course, the other products of technologies like, this rewearable face mask and nanotechnology enhanced sanitizers. These are just a few examples of the available technologies that have been deployed immediately after the lockdown period. Uh, we also have technologies that will support also our medical frontliners. No? So, for example, we've supported technologies that enabled assistance to medical personnel in a quarantine or even a hospital or clinical setting. No? This modest robot setup enables the assistance of or medical services, provision of medical services to patients or to isolates, no, isolated patients, so that it will be protect both the medical personnel and the patient. You might have heard initially we had a shortage of face mask and face shields. So as such, we had our 3D printing facilities or the additive manufacturing system that was put in place a few months just before, no, the pandemic came about. So that was quite useful in producing these face shields. Now, of course, we've shifted to mainstream manufacturing already, no, of these materials because it's more efficient. It's at least still least costly. But what we're saying here now is that there are available tools and technologies for us to be able to respond much quicker than if we would do it using traditional means. And I will talk about this a little bit more later. We were also able to tap onto our researchers who are doing some work on transportation system management. No? Because of course, when we had the pandemic, there was a drastic reduction in the vehicles, but at the same time, we were challenged by the number of checkpoints that we had. So we had a nifty tool like Titan, which counts vehicles, particularly in street segments, that are able to already count cars, no, automatically, and this being streamed through some transportation models, fed into transportation models, so that they will be able to forecast possible choke points, so that our personnel in government, particularly, of course, our traffic enforcers and the police, for them to be able to manage better, no, and distribute human resources in areas where they are most needed. Uh, but in all of this, of course, it is found or located within the background of a wider uh, movement in the industry sector, which is Industry 4.0. As we know, Industry 4.0 consists of a lot of these digital technologies, for anywhere from, you know, having devices connected through the internet, through use of various sensors, no, that detect movement, detect distances, time, etc., etc., no, to uh, to processes that will enable us to more efficiently produce materials at a lesser time, no, and cost. And of course, different platforms that will enable us to locate materials, uh, do ubiquitous computing using cloud services, and making use of big computers like big data and analytics. No, I think it's not listed here, but artificial intelligence has really been one of the lynching pins, no, of Industry 4.0. So the confluence of data, computing tools, and of course people, no, make up this wide spectrum of interactions between machines and humans in order to drive productivity, uh, in order to drive productivity. Uh, Perhaps this has been at a rate that is unprecedented, no? This can only be matched probably by the speed at which, of course, the processors found in our computers and computing devices, including mobile phones and computers, no? And this has a significant impact to the way how we now work, live, and even play, no? Because of course this will enable us to capture many aspects of what we're doing. Every time we pick up our mobile phone and look at the screen, that gets recorded. Every time we click some buttons in the office or at the workplace or at the factory, that gets recorded. Every time that we walk through an aisle on an alley or a parking lot, that's recorded. And where do these records go? They go into this big data facility which computes for computes the relative and finds patterns, no? And these patterns and trends become part of the knowledge that and insights, no, that computers share to those who will be exploiting them, to those who will be utilizing them and making use of them for us to one better manage our resources, better direct traffic, better improve our, of course, productivity, and enhance our services, reduce costs due to energy emissions and losses, no, damage losses, and to some extent prevent some damages. So we see here now a confluence of among all of these technologies put together, and we are not immune from this. We are no different from what everyone else around the world is doing. And of course, government is one of those areas where the impact to productivity is being expected to also increase, no? Over here at the Department of Science and Technology, one of our key role is essentially to provide the support, no, for the doing research and development. And of course, we have a lot of clients. We have higher education institutions, state universities and colleges. We have our own research and development institutes. And to some extent, we also provide support to the private sector. And these are done usually through grant and aid projects. And we usually run them through some kind of management system for us to be able to provide the best assistance that we can in terms of technology interventions, in terms of proper research and development facilities, equipment, or services, no, like tests and analytics. But we run them through, of course, a lot of these systems, and it's quite messy if you do still basing this on some paper-based tools, no? And this is a clear example now of the role of having a database, the role of having a clear and systematic way of evaluating and assessing status of proposals, of projects, even the financial conditions of certain projects, and even the identification of the right and proper technology interventions. We've also used these kinds of technologies in order to properly evaluate proposals that are coming our way, either as a research and development proposal or proposals that relate to proper provision of, as I said, technology interventions. So this also enabled our stakeholders, particularly I would say the evaluators, also properly evaluate not only the relevance, the scientific rigor, but also the significance of these systems. That has redounded also some benefit to other systems that we have in place in government in order to manage human resources, and of course elicit feedback from customers. That helps us a lot in improving also our services. They also know that part of the effort that we're pouring into is trying to go zero paper. No, it's not yet the reality, but we're heading there. And these are all developments that these are all being supported by technologies that are developed in-house, no? Of course, that is because we're quite closer, no, to our technology developers. So we have this platform that enables us to track down every document, every letter, every communication that we receive. That's either being sent through email or through our snail mail. So, and then that gets tracked down to the incoming locations. That also provides us a way to also evaluate in which areas, no, or in which segments of the processing segment do have some we segment where we have bottlenecks, no, and that gets also taken care of. So this provides a sort of immediate analytics to those that are assuming some supervisory functions in order for them to drive our business, no? Which in this case is provide support, no? S&T support in a much more efficient and productive way. At the same time, I also would like to share that we also support systems development in a lot of other government agencies. So, for example, we asked a state university down there in Camarines to develop an e-governance systems. This is most suitable for local government units wanting to have an automated system to track down, for example, documents related to, you know, local legislation, building permitting, real property tax assessment, which is quite a, you know, a useful tool, and even a point of payment system. We recognize that there are a lot of commercial systems that are out there, but are locked on, no, and that are quite prohibitive, and we made it a point basically to for it to be free and available for local government units which do not have the capacity to fork out, no, funds to engage commercial service providers. Another program that we rolled out just last year was to support, of course, governance, no, through data science and decision support. So as you know, we're strongly heading towards an era where all of the processes and systems that we have are now being computerized. But of course, one opportunity that's derived out of that situation is we have to make use of the data in order for us to make good decisions, set out clear and good policies, and also improve our services. So we crafted this goddess system for us to have a data-driven governance and evidence-based management. This makes use of data science tools, no, and analytical tools, which provides us a way to immediately get insight on what our respective offices are doing. We're quite happy to note that we've been able to reach out to about now 23,000, no, enrollees in this training program. So because first we recognize that there aren't a few data science specialists that are out there, so we endeavor to first train people, no? So this includes, of course, students, faculty members of universities, and people from government, and even those that are in the IT BPM sector, because they recognize that, you know, having data science specialists around will be helpful for us and provide us more opportunities that to provide services even at the international level on data science, because we recognize and we already foresee that a lot of the services, a lot of the industries, you know, like hospitals, pharmaceuticals, banks, no, all need some specialists that will be able to analyze and make insights out of the data that their firms, companies, and industries generate. So, but at the same time, we also know that government agencies, local government units are also computerizing their data sets. They're automating systems. They're putting up services also online. Uh, and we can use these kinds of systems in order for us to gain better understanding of the processes, better understanding of um, the the trends that are happening, and use these insights as a way to craft better programs, projects, and activities. And this and of course that's an opportunity for us to be able to put some data specialists, data science specialists for each and every government office. Um, uh, During the pandemic, we also supported, no, for example, support for the development of tools that will enable tracking down the distribution of relief and social amelioration. So, one such example is what you see on screen. No? This will enable also our first responders, our local government personnel, and our responders, no, to have a systematic way of distribution. This is also a sort of a transparent system that will provide more confidence in enable to elicit more confidence from among our communities, no, of the um, of the conditions of the distribution, as well as to partake also in the process, because after all, this should be participatory in nature. As an assistance to our healthcare facilities, we also provided support for the development of system to track down where the supplies, medical supplies are, and the status, including the levels of availability, from anywhere from face masks to PPEs to other supplies that are being used by our frontline medical workers. No? This includes a facility to include donation drives and registration. So this is a one way, no, to also engage citizens, no, and assure them where that their donations, that their efforts, that their assistance goes a long way, no? And they wanted to also be assured that their efforts are not going for naught. One challenge that we have is trying to also, of course, increase the confidence that we have in going to our workplaces, going back to our workplaces, and we need some kind of tool to assure our workers that they are safe, that in the event of somebody getting infected with the virus, gets immediately reported, and has a facility to also inform those that had close contacts, no. So we also supported this startup, no, to develop a early assessment reporting system, no? So the users, no, are able to track and report their state of health on a daily basis, and enable some sort of a contact tracing within a workplace. So this could be useful for this was first introduced in the IT BPM sector, and we hope that versions of this will be put out also to serve other industries, with some, of course, modification, because we understand that in each and every workplace, or in each and every type of industry, the setup could be different. Because this even includes a layout, no, of the rooms, in order for them to assess whether some space is observing the social distancing rules. Uh, DOST is also heavy on supporting startups, no? And one of them was Payroller. Payroller was actually is a startup that develop and deploys as part of a service, no, HR management systems in the Philippines. No? Uh, and there are many startups that already have this kind of services in place. And what's so good about it is that it became more urgent and important for industries to or to for for offices or businesses to employ this kind of contactless HR management and even payroll management system, because of course they wanted to reduce as much face-to-face contact among workers as much as possible, no, in cases where it is applicable. And this is a common denominator among them, and we're just too glad that this is taking place. Similar systems have been developed not only for businesses but also for even for educational institutions, no? Things like scheduling of online classes, payment of tuition fees. You have systems that also track down activities of online classes, including engagements of teachers and students. You have those kinds of tools. We know that there are startup businesses and technologists that come up with this kind of useful tools, and we'd like to let everyone know that we are happy to support any need or no, or any requirement that will address some of our challenges, no, in the workplace. One, in order for us to make our workplace safer. Number two, we wanted to maintain, if not to even increase our levels of productivity. And of course, the third goal is for us to uh, to drive our economy back to pre-COVID-19 conditions as much as we can, no, without of course compromising our health conditions. And we also supported technology business incubators. This is a way for us to support those researchers that are coming out of universities and may have potentials for commercialization and technology transfer, no? As a way of increasing further our enterprises and entrepreneurs, no? For a time, we were always thinking that you only do research because you wanted to finish your degree, but we encouraged our researchers to prod on and to learn some entrepreneurship skills, no, so that they will be able to contribute to also the economy. So we have now set up about 30 technology business incubators all over the Philippines. Most of them are in universities, but of course, these TBIs also welcome those startups, no, even outside the universities. So you could just walk in and to these TBIs and let them know your requirements to drive your from the ideation of your key technology ideas into possible lookout for investors, no? So they provide a wide spectrum of services related to technology development, licensing, and even commercialization. So we do hope I have provided some glimpse of what we do here in the UST to improve, of course, our productivity, number one. Number two is to, of course, support our industries, no, to be more competitive by leveraging various technologies that are most suitable, no? And this is also an opportunity for us to also um, to invite our friends, of course, from national from NWPC to forge together, no, probably some programs or some activities that will enable us to uh, to provide better services to the community which we envision to support. So with that, I end this presentation, and thank you very much for the again for the invitation.
Thank you, Dr. Eric. That is for the very informative presentation. Research are engaged in so many technology and data analytics-driven initiatives, from energy to emerging technologies to disaster management, including development of information systems for better provision of government services to our public. As this point, Dr. Eric, we will present the poll results, and as we do, we would like to ask your insights or reaction on the results. Dr. Eric, would you want me to read the results first, or would you like to comment after showing each result of the 4 poll questions?
Yeah, I've seen a glimpse of the poll results a little earlier, and they're quite interesting. But of course, maybe I'd just like to see it first. And
Okay,
then
so I will read
I'll
okay, sir. So I will read all the poll results first. Okay. For the first poll results, can we show the first results, please? Okay, has your company adopted any new technology to ensure continuity of your operation during this pandemic? Dr. Eric, about 3/4 of our participants adopted new technology to ensure their business upload during this pandemic.
Yeah, this is quite this very encouraging. We had a similar story. Just before the pandemic, we were already orienting our personnel on productivity tools that we can use in the office. No, we were not really envisioning a sort of a pandemic lockdown application, but rather we were just finding ways to, of course, one, integrate our data and information systems. Number two, finding ways to better maybe work together, even while we're not, seeing each other in the office. But then the lockdown came, and it so happened that we had a lot of these tools. I've shown you some of them a little earlier, like Trace, and then they came in handy during the pandemic because we were sort of, you could say, we had some level of readiness already when we had that pandemic, because our business processes were continuing. We were still processing a lot of papers, but we were like, wanting to see also, we wanted to develop a system by which we could implement it. No, I mean, the tools are there, great, but sometimes we also need to work it out so that we could have a proper adoption. And since, of course, we are an innovation-based, innovation-driven organization, so acceptance of new systems and ways of doing things becomes second nature to us. So I'm very much encouraged and even impressed by this result of the poll.
Yes, that's right, sir. Talagang magandang balita yun na maraming nag-engage sa new technologies in this time of pandemic. Okay, let's go now to the second poll question. Okay. Sir, for the second question, what aspect of your company operation has new technology been applied to? Okay. 44%, sir, in the frontline services. And then followed by sales and marketing. Baka ito, sir, mga online selling, ganun, sir. And then human resources, or it's also, sir, mga work from home to, more or less, sir. And then more than 1/4 of our participants in finance. And then, ano pa yung mga hindi ko nakita dito? Mga 18 to 12% po ay nasa production and distribution. Ito po yung result ng second poll natin. Ito po ba ay mga consistent in the outlook of your agency of research, sir?
Yes, pretty much, no? Kasi, when we went into a lockdown, the first thing that came to our minds, at least sa management, no, was to how to provide continued service, no, to our stakeholders, no, even if we are working from home. Siguro, as government personnel, that's foremost in our minds, no. And I'm happy to, I don't know kung ano bang cross section ng ating mga participants this morning, but if these are government, this very very impressive, no, kasi nauna talaga yung inisip natin parati, how can we continue to engage our stakeholders and customers, no, and partners. This is very much a welcome development, and ang parang impression ko dito is that we really have also quite a number of areas, no, where technology needs to be also adapted, na like production, distribution, human resource, for example. Syempre gusto nating ituloy yung ating trabaho, but we also want to see to it that our workers are taken care of. So yung mga human resource tools are also quite important. Medyo lang ako, na-curious lang ako dito, kasi pag sabi ko parati, I'm a teacher at the university, pag sinabi ko merong others sa result ng survey, that's more than 10%, medyo significant yun. Ano kaya itong mga to, no? So,
Yan din, sir. About
himayin natin
30% yan, sir. Opo. Salamat, sir. Okay, let's go now, sir, to the third poll questions. Please show the results, please. Okay. For the third poll, what are the challenges or difficulties in adapting new technologies? Okay. Sir, our participants, so on the top of the challenges experienced by our participants is the internet access. So, sir, ito medyo talaga ito. Closely followed by the cost of technologies. And then about half of our participants encountered difficulties in integrating new technology in their existing systems and processes, and also in adapting to new technologies. Nabanggit niyo yan, sir, kanina. Sir, is research doing research and developments to address these concerns?
Yes. Yung internet access, pretty much ano naman natin yan, no? Common denominator, no? We recognize, kahit kami dito, I mean, kahit na technology driven kami, pagdating naman ng mga personnel sa bahay, kanya-kanyang conditions, no? Even I at home, no, I have some challenges in connectivity, and we can pretty much relate to this. One interesting area here is yung adaptability, no? And I think that it goes two ways. One is of course the willingness to learn from among our workers, no? And then number two is if there are a set of tools that are available for them to adapt quickly. And I think one of the things that we learned in that process is, one, we need to understand their requirements. So what we did initially was to run a quick survey. Sino bang may internet? Sino bang may computer? Sino bang may laptop? No? Sino bang may mobile phone na system? So that we could immediately identify what the challenges and what are the needs will be, no? So that we could project in the next few months ano ba yung kakailanganin. So sabi namin, malaki naman yung ating resources na tipid because, we're not in the office, we're not spending so much on utilities. Pwede ba i-convert natin to something else? Number two, kailangan ng policy directive to drive this. So, baba kami ng guidelines, nagbaba kami ng protocols in order to observe. Ano ba? Meron kaming online time in, time out, di ba? Meron kaming project management system, no, na online. So, you could click if you have finished the job. Pwede mo nang i-report, okay, I've done this. I can report my performance inside the period when for a particular period, even during the lockdown or on a periodic basis. So meron kaming mga tools, policies, and systems in place. Siguro yun yung tatlong importanteng Importante, may clear policy to do it. Number two, may technology to support it. Number three, merong, paano ba? Meron tayong system to go by. Kung minsan kasi nandiyan naman yung system, it's just not implemented in a technology-based platform, di ba? Sa office, meron tayong, processes, yon siguro. But kung wala naman tayo nung driving policy to do it na o gawin natin to online, no? Yung cost naman, yeah, it's a common concern, but I can tell you that parang pareho lang. In some cases, even we have higher levels of productivity kasi less traffic. For the record, I attended more meetings in an online platform than I did in a, di ba? Because of the traffic. Dati, 1 or 2 meetings lang tayo outside our offices in a day. Pero ngayon, pwede nga tayo ngayon, multiple meetings in one sitting. Yeah.
Okay. Sir, thank you for your responses. Let's go now to the fourth poll question, and this will be the last, sir. Okay, what form of assistance do you need, if any, from the government? Sir, 8 in 10 of our participants wants the government to provide free online platform for digital applications. This is consistent to the third question, sir.
Yes, oo.
Opo. Sir, then followed by technical advice. Again, kailangan po, sabi nyo nga po kanina, kahit andyan na yung technology, kung wala namang technical training, so kailangan po talaga natin yung training. And then they are looking for grants and loans.
Yun, oo. Siguro very relevant dito. Unahin ko lang muna yung mga second runner, no, yung grants. Hindi yung loans, hindi siguro sa amin yan. But we do have sa amin, sa DOST kasi, we run through a grant system, no? Particularly for R&D and innovations. No? Nabanggit ko na kanina na we provide support for the conduct of research and development and primarily ang aming mga stakeholders ay researchers, no, in universities or yung mga research and development institutions. Ngayon, ang isang opportunity to siguro to engage, no, siguro makikinig yung ating mga participants, if you're a firm owner, a company owner that has a need, no, to adjust to the new normal, meron po kaming tinatawag na collaborative research, no, to leveraging na technology, no, o yung DOST Cradle ang tawag namin. So ano to, no? Collaborative research and development to leverage technology, no? Leverage Philippine economy. So ano bang ginagawa nito, no? We help firms come up with new products or adjust to the new normal. So by sharing, no, of resources, no, through R&D. Halimbawa, gusto nyong ma-overcome yung mga challenges ng COVID-19 by introducing new technologies. So nagpatawag kami ng grant, tapos ang system nito is that there's an 80% cost borne by us for the research and development. Pero hindi mapupunta sa firm yon. Mapupunta sa isang research institution na pwede kayong tulungan mag-develop ng bagong process. No? Marami tayong kahit yung mga commodity na nakikita na natin, halos sa mga products na nakikita natin sa mga ang tawag nito, convenience stores. No? Mayroong mga produkto dyan actually na natulungan natin come up with better products because of R&D, no? Kaya naman namin gustong suportahan 'yun kasi it reduces also the cost on the part of our researchers to mimic the setting in of a particular production environment. Di na kami kailangang gumastos ng malaki in order to do, say for example, testing, a lot of this mass production na kinakailangan, and then we undergo a test. No? Kami naman, we leverage on our, yung human resources, mayroon tayong mga researchers, mayroon tayong testing facilities na magagamit, mayroon tayong mga analytical tools na magagamit para makapag-develop ng bagong products, bagong systems, bagong processes, so that, one, magkaroon tayo ng bagong opportunity, number two, matulungan yung ating mga firms, no, na makaagapay dun sa COVID-19 or dun sa new normal. So it's an invitation for those that are trying to find solutions. Yun naman kanina yung result na ano ba yung mga kakailanganin, no? Na nabanggit kanina, there should be some tools. No, nabanggit ko na kanina, we had actually a university developed a productivity system for an office environment, no? For an office setting. And particularly ito dun sa local government unit, nakita nyo kanina yung mga ELGU solutions, no? Syempre, we recognize also that those are particular to a local government setting. Paano kung national government agency kami? O halimbawa, private firm ako. Pwede ba ako mag-avail ng ganyan? Pwede naman, pero we have to do the tweaking. And that's where the cooperative research and development comes in. So, yun po yung aming pwedeng may offer na solution.
Yes, tawag dito, consistent po tayo dyan yung mga productivity initiatives, no? Okay, sir, let's go now to the Q&A questions. Medyo marami tayong question. Ready na kayo, sir.
Sige lang.
Okay, so allow me to read some of the questions in our Q&A. Ay, sir, dun sa comments na pala, nabanggit ko, looking forward, nakita ko dun sa mga comments, looking forward daw sila dun sa third telco. What can you say about this? Sana daw ay makasagot dun sa problem natin sa internet access.
Third telco, no? Oo naman, pero ganito pa rin, no? We have a lot of heavy discussion about this the last few weeks. About access to, you know, communication, and then number 2 also delivery of data. And isa sa mga nakita namin, kahit sabihin na natin may pangatlong telco, these are all still driven by business goals, di ba? So that means kung hindi naman viable sa kanila, for example, we were talking about, say, for example, access, and access is primarily governed by kung merong tower na itatayo, no? And the tower, of course, the infrastructure takes some kind of investment, no, to be put in. Sa mga lugar na kukunting tao, mababa ang level of business, sabihin natin business activity, baka walang mag-invest, baka walang maglagay. So, buti na lang, no, we were scouring through the suite of technologies that we've supported in the past. Nakakita kami ng merong mga tinatawag na community cellular networks or CCNs, no? And ito ang concept ng CCN, yung community na yung magtatayo ng kanilang sariling cellular network. Tapos hindi siya slave to business interests. So, ang gagawin nito is that they have access to, of course, babayaran mo pa rin yung telco, pero they don't need to invest as much, no? Sabi ko nga, 'di ba, pwede na, ano ba ang common na facility sa mga communities? Eskwelahan. Ano meron sa eskwelahan? Flagpole. Sabi ko, kung gawin mo lang cellular tower yung flagpole mo, it will provide access, kasi mataas, it will provide access to students in the community, get access to the data that they need in order for them to, the computer-based materials that they need in order to do a distance learning. So, these are some of the, siguro parang also to provide a glimpse of what we're aiming for, no? Na makapag-provide ng connectivity through community cellular networks. And also, we're looking at opportunities for taking advantage of TV frequencies na hindi ginagamit. Maraming mga TV frequencies actually pwedeng magdala ng hindi lang TV signal but also data. In fact, in other countries, they already use that part of the spectrum that's used to transmit TV signal, to transmit data. Of course, we need the tools and the systems for that. Pero yun yung gusto naming ding ipasok, no? So, meron ng mga na-demonstrate na technologies. Of course, nakita nyo naman, di ba, may meron na tayong digital TV. So, yun yung concept, no? It's data being transmitted through that part, through TV frequency. So, abangan natin yun. So, meron ng proof of concept, yun na lang talagang implementation, and of course adoption as a matter of standard ng ating mga ng NTC, of course, at saka yung ating service providers.
Okay, sir. Salamat, sir, for the answer. Sir, meron dito si Christopher Jedayo. I am just think on the paperless or tracking document technologies you mentioned. There are various different systems in the national government agency and even those pioneered by DOST. Are the action plans by DOST to merge with DICT, ARTA, CSC, the digitalization streaming process? Parang yun yung tanong niya,
Ah,
sir.
okay. Yeah, oo. Yung nabanggit ko kanina, 'di ba? I showed the slide about the trace, no? And and there had been a lot of actually very keen interest on adopting it. Superb talaga yung ako talaga tuwa ako kasi I used to have this pile of paper in front of my desk. Pero nung nag-trace kami, ano na lang konti na lang yung parang apparently parang nagiging system na namin ngayon. Okay, it arrives on paper as paper, and it leaves the office as paper. But the in-between processes have now become more or less digital in nature. So, wala na yung draft, wala na yung intermediate documents. Kung whatever that comes out as a from the printer is the final form. Yun na yung pinipirmahan, no? We even adapted of course the e-signature by the ICT. So yung tanong whether these are being integrated ba or with the different systems that the government has. Well, we're talking with the ICT, we're talking with ARTA. I think I had an audience with ARTA a week ago with the CSC, no, incidentally, and we were talking about these issues. And meron kaming parang isang implementation plan, isang concept na gusto namin i-drive sa kanila using this, yun nga, one, paperless, two, contactless, no? And then number three is also a process driven, no, na meron na tayong process, yun na lang talaga ang concept na wala nang papel. So mukha namang nagiging totoo. We don't have much choice about papers arriving, but we have a choice within office to make it paperless and then develop a system to both adapt a paper version and a non-paper version as outputs.
Okay.
Yung ARTA naman, ang isang main na driver namin, meron kaming, di ba, yung ease of doing business. Ang sabi doon, we need to develop a system to process all documents possibly in 20 days, no? Pero binigyan naman tayo ng leeway kasi plus another 20 days daw for highly technical evaluations, no, or projects. So or applications. So ang ginawa namin, we developed a 40-day system to evaluate, say for example, proposals for grants. So nasunod namin 'yon. Nag-deadline kami ng May 31. By July 27, nag-release na kami ng results, no? And we were processing hundreds of proposals. And mind you, of course, these are documents produced by scientists, so medyo highly technical din talaga. So those are one of the things. And the good news again is that halos paperless na po yung in-adapt na system.
Okay, magandang balita po yun, sir. Okay, meron po tayong dalawang question regarding payroller system from Pauline, and the other one is Romil. Is there any guideline you can give that will give us info on how to access and utilize the payroller system?
Yeah. Kasi ano naman ito, no? To be straightforward, si Payroller naman, it's not a free system, no? But rather that's their sort of core business. Yun talaga yung we supported them kasi of course they're sort of leveraging technology in order to support other businesses. Yun ang kanilang naging parang business model. And ang maganda kasi nito, nung una, they were not so viable kasi wala namang gagamit ng ganyang klaseng system, di ba? Dati wala namang drive towards digitalization of processes even in the private sector. Pero nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, biglang lahat gusto mag-shift sa digital systems. And I think they were able to come up with more sabihin natin more competitive services now that they have more customers. So pwede namin kayong i-refer doon sa nag-offer ng ganitong service and see, well, you can see for yourself if it suits your business.
Okay. So there is another question here. What system do you recommend for data analytics? And does the government have a system for data analytics for private businesses?
Okay. Para dun sa data analytics, I mentioned before that there are set of the good news is that yung data science and data analytics systems, marami actually mga tools na that are out there, no, that can be learned online, and you can deploy it to your own offices, no. And nabanggit ko na kanina about the Project Sparta, no? Ito yung the data science training program na pinagawa namin sa Development Academy of the Philippines. So, it aims to train 30,000 data scientists, no? To develop, to come up with skills, no? So, depende kung anong gusto niyo para sa sarili ninyo, no? As a career, as a career opportunity, and also what your office requires. So, pwede kayo maging data scientist, analyst, data engineer, data architect, no? And yung mga tools na ginagamit naman doon are marami diyan actually open source eh. Wala naman talagang software na binabayaran para gawin 'yan, no? These are, mash up of different tools that are available out there. So what we can do is we can invite you to undergo that training and then deploy it into your own offices. Ito ngayon, maganda. I would like to announce na nananawagan kami na once you take that course, you complete at least one, pwede kayong pumasok sa aming capstone project system, no? Kasi, syempre, training. Gusto naman natin pakita na natuto tayo, di ba? We are providing a grant, a small grant, no? 1 million or less, sa isang office na gustong mag-adapt ng data science and analytics platform, no? Siyempre, ang requirement lang namin, we need somebody working in that office to propose a system for them. So, kasi gusto namin talaga makita data science in action, kumbaga in respective offices. So, pwede to sa mga local government units, pwede sa mga national government agencies, even in the regional offices nung pwede yan, no? Kasi gusto namin mapakita nga na there's now data science in everything that we do, even in government. So, yun ang aming sort of, invitation.
Okay, marami tayong good news na naririnig ngayon. Sir, meron ditong tanong tungkol sa data privacy law. Have you experienced any violation with existing data privacy law? Does DOST do any assessment on the effectiveness of technology to detect any fraud or to protect all data?
Yeah, good question, no? Ito lang sa COVID-19, ang dami naming mga issues na tackle about privacy, no? Particularly doon sa, alam nyo naman, di ba, may mga contact sharing, contact tracing applications na maraming in-offer. So, sabi ko, tatlo yung mga requirements when you want to have that kind of system in place. One, it must be of high, it must be, of course, effective, no? It does the job. Number two, it must have a high level of security kasi ayaw natin na magkaroon ng fraud that will arise out of it, no? That's two, security. Number three is that, of course, again, data privacy. It must observe yung mga tinatawag na data privacy regulations under, of course, our Data Privacy Act. So, for the data privacy, conformity to data privacy policies, we refer them, of course, to the NPC, no? The National Privacy Commission, which has the purview on all of these projects. Meron naman silang, ang kagandahan nun, they have a set of standards and guidelines for which it must be met. They issue a certification for systems that have been developed if it conforms to data privacy standards. Kung meron kaming mga nakitang oversight, kasi kami naman kasi, we of course support research and development. So for that purpose, hindi naman tayo masyadong strict no yung implementation nun, lalo na kung sabihin na natin experimental kasi controlled naman yung environment, controlled naman yung data sets. It's actually when you now deploy these systems out there to real world environment and real world conditions where the one that is going to use them or adopt them will need to require these certifications about conforming to standards and regulations. So, kayong mga gagamit, kayo ng mga end user, yung bahala ngayon na mag-require doon sa inyong nagpo-provide ng service na ganito, no, data services, to conform to certain regulations. So, ano naman yun? May mga guideline naman si NPC about this.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Eric. Yung aming executive director, si Ms. Chris po ay may tanong. Can Titan be used for seamless supply chain efficient management for all MSMEs? Efficient management of MSMEs. If yes, how can MSMEs access the technology?
Si Titan kasi, ito yung mga applications na dinevelop. Ano ba? Meron kang network of CCTVs nasa isang city, for example. Tapos for every point of view, no? It can already count the cars automatically, no? Nakakatakot. It can even identify the plate number, read the plate number, no? So may mga ganun na tayong technologies, and then it automatically counts the traffic that goes to a certain area. Yung tanong mo about supply chain, actually meron pa kami sinuportahan pang isa pang research. I think this one is De La Salle ba o UP, no? Na that does that, no? Supply chain management sa mga I think ang kanilang target area before, no, kasi COVID-19 response project ulit siya, was logistics ng groceries and supermarkets. So nagkaroon sila ng system to develop a parang supply chain management system that will monitor the supply levels and the deliveries and the production, no, and delivery of goods, no, to and from the place of production, halimbawa mga farms, all the way down to supermarket. So yun po yung mga napa-develop natin na system. Kasi nakita nga namin at that time, one of the challenges di ba nung lockdown period was adequate supply of goods in our markets para hindi tayo nagpa-panic buying. So we had that we supported those kinds of systems, and I think they engaged a few supermarkets in Pasig City as an example. Pero of course, ang caveat niya hindi po namin, yun po ang gusto namin clarify. We support these technologies in order for them to, one, to be developed, number two, to be deployed for purposes of testing and validation. So what happens after that, gusto na naming ma-engage kung sino yung mga end users para i-adapt tong mga to. Of course, there might be some costs involved in adapting it, but it's between you and the researcher. We could facilitate it. We could assist you in getting them connected to so that you can make use of them so that mas mapabilis yung process ng adoption.
Okay, salamat. Another question, sir. Does DOST grant financial assistance to companies, individuals who will be developing technology or systems or other related activities? Okay,
very straightforward question. I like that, no? Hindi po directly. You should partner with a research and development institute or a university performing research work so that you could co-develop certain systems, no? So yun yung systems, technologies or processes. So yun ang parang pinaka-straightforward din po na answer. But we have a special place in our hearts for startups. Bakit? Kasi meron po kasing Innovative Startup Act. Ang sinasabi po ng Innovative Startup Act, isa sa mga role, tatlo po kasi merong DICT, merong role ang DTI, at merong role ang DOST. Ang role po ng DOST ay magbigay ng tinatawag na startup grant. So, enabled kami para magbigay ng grant para sa mga startups. So, pero of course, may susundang proseso, no? Kailangan mag-register kay DICT, tapos saka kayo pupunta sa amin to apply for that grant. So, we will be having a call for startup grants until the end of the year for next year's deployment.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. So ito, meron lang gusto ko lang din siyang basahin. May oras pa naman po tayo kasi. Maria Erica Aquino, sabi niya, gusto lang daw niyang i-share. Sister Bureau daw, that's DOST-PCIEERD. The Bureau of DOST-PCIEERD has a good documentation practices using technology advances. I am a former intern of the Bureau Agency of DOST, and it really helped me a lot to start a good yet strict administrative documentation practices. Now I am currently exploring HR labor relations and policy development formulation. It helped me a lot. So ito ay mga mga magagandang testimony ng ating mga participants, experience nila sa engagement nila with DOST and PCIEERD and PCIEERD. Okay. Ay, baka meron kayong nababrowse dyan ng mga tanong pa.
Yes, yung mga nagtatanong ng tungkol dun sa Sparta, no, dun sa data science training, libre po 'yon. Number 2, open 'yon para sa lahat, wala pong restriction 'yon. Kasi nga gusto natin we're a data-driven country, data-driven economy. So, we see the opportunities na mapoprovide natin as a business, we see the opportunities na ma-improve yung ating services sa government, and we see the opportunity para ma-improve din yung ating teaching and learning, no? Kasi ang dami diyan ang dami diyan data-based talaga ang kabuhayan, no? What will be the action of PCIEERD to help those in remote areas without internet connectivity? Nabanggit ko na po kanina yung community cellular network, no? So ang aim namin, meron kasi sinabi si DepEd na 88% daw ang penetration ng TV, 85% ang penetration ng radyo. So, gusto naming tingnan yung difference no, yung 100 minus 88%, yung 12%, doon kami maghahanap ng mga pilot areas where we can deploy this community cellular network. Yung tanong, ito, yung data science program, tingnan nyo lang yung sparta.dap.gov.ph kasi sila po yung nagmamanage ng enrollment. Laki pa ng in-evaluate namin kahapon, ang laki pa ng ng quota, kumbaga. So, please feel free to enroll. Marami pa yung slots na pwedeng pakinabangan. Yung trace ba daw freely available to all? Yes. Actually, kami sa PCIEERD, hindi namin dinevelop yun. It's developed by DOST Region 4A. Incidentally, when I'm teaching at UP, incidentally, nung nakipag-meeting ako sa kanila, I looked at that system. Sabi ko, ganda nito sa office maraming pwedeng paggamitan nito. So, when I came to PCIEERD, inadapt na rin namin. No? So, I think it's really useful for those that are, want to keep track of everything in the office, including yung mga documents. Kasi, isang isang search mo lang, para meron kang Google ng documents sa office, alam mo kung nakaninong document, nakaninong desk, etc., etc. Of course, it's a virtual desk. So, if you're keen on it, kahit email nyo na lang ako, of course, our friends at NWPC has my email, tapos i-refer namin kayo sa Region 4A. Hindi naman sila nagpapabayad, sa totoo lang. So, nakakatuwa siya talaga. Ako parang, meron ba siyang messaging system, no? If you're so used to using, Messenger, Yahoo, whatever, may ganun siyang platform. So, pwede mong ikabit yung document doon sa message, tapos instruction mo. It's like having your post-it in the office. Ganun yon. And the good news is that, of course, yung post-it mo, nandun lang din. Di mo makakalimutan kasi hindi siya mawawala. Okay, merong tanong dito, will you mind giving us an idea how much is directed to digitalization in absolute amounts and the percentage of the DOST budget? Mahirap lang sagutin kasi syempre digitalization touches many aspects, no? It's not only converting our paper-based processes to digital ones, no? But it also includes even improvement of productivity through a system of computerization, IoT, systems integration, no? Kasi for example kami, sa mga strong agenda namin, is to convert our, our industry 2.0, even 1.0 to industry 4.0 using IoT processes. So, ang tawag namin doon, meron kaming program na iisa, no? Integrated um, um, industrial systems and applications. So, itong iisa na to, ang concept nito, lahat ng mga ng processes mo sa production line, lalagyan natin ng sensors, no? Pagkatapos mong lagyan yun ng sensors, magkakaroon tayo ng analytics. Saan ba mabagal, saan mabilis, no? Tapos, ang next level, no, kapag nilagyan mo na siya ng sensors, may data ka na, alam mo yung mabagal, mabilis, pangit ang kinalabasan, di ba? Meron tayong mga quality control. We can then introduce some control systems there to improve the quality or increase the productivity, di ba? Kasi, parang it's like adding some knobs, control systems in your workplace to in order to drive certain optimal conditions, di ba? To achieve certain optimal conditions. So, tama-tama talaga. Parang ngayon ko lang na-realize, NWPC would be a good partner pala sa atin, no?
Tama, sir.
Kasi we've always been a strong driver nga for all of these things, increasing productivity in the office, making sure that you're innovative, you're productive, and of course, you make your workers happy, no? By making them healthy, hindi na sila masyado na-stress sa trabaho, no? And all of these things, ang parating ang mistake ko minsan, sinasabi, is automation or is Industry 4.0 going to drive away people from their work? Is it going to put them out of work? Ang sinasabi ko parati, hindi. That's not the objective. The objective is for us to be more productive, live more fulfilling life with all of these tools. Kasi tools lang ito eh. And that's the message that we want to impart. And we'd like to find means para kanina music to my ears yung kanina ma'am yung sabi niyo na ang NWPC rin pala it does for example some of these studies related to increasing productivity. Gusto din namin 'yan. So tama-tama we could be partners.
Opo, sir.
Can trace program be used via cloud environment? Kailangan, ang pagkakaintindi po ko, kailangan nyo ng isang server na naka-reside po sa inyong office. Sir, doon sa vehicle tracker, can it be adapted or implemented by our traffic management sa PNP to provide security to motorists, both private and public? Yes po. In fact, ang ginamit po ng mga researchers na CCTV data ay galing sa MMDA. So, MMDA was just too happy to have that kind of system. Kasi, hindi na sila mano-mano nagbibilay ng traffic count eh. Ngayon, they just get that data off the Titan system. Yan. Okay, yung email address po, lalagay ko lang sa chat. Okay lang ba, ma'am? Okay lang naman po ng spam. Sige, ibibigay po ng NWPC, ng ating host, yung aking email address. Kasi we just want to share all of these tools para tayo lahat masaya.
Masaya at saka makatulong para ma-improve yung mga productivity natin. Sir, at this point, yung some key takeaways from your presentation.
Yes, marami na ako na share kanina, pero some of these things can only be successful. No? It's as good as the way also how we're reacting to it. Kasi these are just tools. No? Pabayaan mo sila dyan, it will not really contribute. And there are a few things that we could learn. One is that we must have an open mind, no? Medyo gasgas na yung open-minded ka ba, but in this case, that's really what's needed, no? To be open-minded about these systems and tools, because in the end, they were made actually to serve us, to assist us, and to guide us, no? They were not made by by some system that's serving itself, but it's serving us. Number two is that we also see that there's an opportunity for making sure that this observe certain policies, no, nabanggit na kanina yung aspects ng security, ng privacy, no. And then number three, they're designed by through a system of, feedback. And usually this is an iterative process. Hindi to this does not happen overnight. This is also not perfect in the beginning. So for any systems and tools that are out there, it's not they're not really cast in stone. They're actually part of an evolution, no? It's part of our journey, and I'm encouraging us, no, all of us to be actually part of that journey and enjoy the process, no. Ganun talaga eh. Kung minsan it has its quirks, things that we could not understand. The important thing is for us to accept it, but we only accept it with the end vision of also improving it, no, and become part of that, and we should become part of that process. So yun po siguro yung aking takeaways. I do hope I have contributed, give you a few glimpses of what technology can offer, and please do also engage with us. Kung meron po kayong pangangailangan, meron kayong gustong itanong, lumapit lang po kayo sa amin sa PCIEERD sa DOST. Maraming salamat po ulit.
Salamat po. With that, we now end our session. And on behalf of the National Wages and Productivity Commission, I would like to thank Executive Director Enrico C. Paringit for his presentation, Technology-Enabled Solution, Mitigation to Recovery. Join us on September 24 when we discuss the future of work in the new normal by Mr. Hideki Kagohashi of the International Labor Organization. This will be followed by Employment Outlook, Transitioning to a Better Normal on October 1. Then Actionable Intelligence, Results Amidst Uncertainty on October 8. Business Reconfiguration on October 15. Employee Engagement on October 22. And finally, on November 5, Automating the Business Side of Agriculture, such as marketing of produce from farm to table. For more information, please visit our official website, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow our Twitter account. Before you leave, also fill up the evaluation form. Let us know how else we can improve our future webinar through your valuable feedback. In behalf of my co-moderator, Attorney Grace Padilla, I'm LV. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next week. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you. See you next week.